Welcome to SpeakEasy. Learn English faster. Your daily dose of simple English, clear explanations, and fun conversations to help you speak confidently and fluently. Let's unlock the power of English together. Today, we're diving headfirst into something pretty common, that strange feeling when you understand English perfectly while listening or reading, but the moment it's your turn to speak, poof, the words just disappear. It's like your tongue gets stage fright. And here's the thing, you are definitely not alone. We've looked into some really insightful expert content to understand why this happens. More importantly, we're here to share practical, easy-to-follow strategies that you can actually use. The goal? To break free from that fear and speak with genuine confidence. This is all about helping you bridge the gap, that frustrating space between understanding English and actually speaking it. So, let's unpack it. It's fascinating, isn't it? And the more we looked into it, the more we realized this isn't just about learning English. It's a deeply human experience. The nervousness, the shyness, even the fear, they're incredibly common. Everyone feels them at some point, even native English speakers, especially in new or high-pressure situations. Think about a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, but they get back up. And that's the real takeaway here. Perfection is not the goal. The goal is clear, confident communication. Your English doesn't have to be flawless to be powerful. And that idea that perfection isn't the goal, it changes everything. It shifts your mindset. So let's start exploring the reasons why this freeze happens in the first place. Experts often point to what they call the big three psychological barriers. The first one, and probably the biggest for most learners, is the fear of making mistakes. That constant worry about using the wrong word, messing up grammar, or mispronouncing something. It can feel paralyzing. But here's a simple truth. Mistakes are not failures. They're chances to grow. They're part of the process. The second big barrier is deeply human too, the fear of being judged. This is where your mind can really go into overdrive. You start imagining people laughing at your accent or giving you strange looks. But here's the shift in mindset that changes everything. Most people aren't judging you. In fact, many people admire the effort. It takes real courage to learn and speak another language, something most people are too afraid to even try. So try replacing the thought, "They're judging me," with, "Maybe they appreciate that I'm trying." That inner voice, it's powerful. And it brings us to the third fear, the fear of not knowing what to say. Have you ever had that moment when someone asks you something in English and your mind just goes completely blank? Total white noise? That happens because we put so much pressure on ourselves. We think we need the perfect sentence, the perfect word, instantly. But here's a little secret that might free you. Even native speakers struggle to find the right words sometimes. They pause. They say, you know. They take time. And it is completely okay for you to do the same. So if these feelings are totally normal, then the real question is, how do we move past them? Here's the core idea we found again and again. Every time you feel that fear and speak anyway, you make real, measurable progress. Every single time you try, that fear shrinks a little, and your confidence, it grows. Feeling scared doesn't mean you're bad at English. It just means you're human. And remember, you don't need to be perfect to start. What really matters is that you try, you learn, and you keep going. Perfection is not the goal. Communication is. And that's what truly sticks with me, especially when I think about those big 3 fears. So, understanding the fears, that's step 1. But then comes the real question. How do we actually overcome them? How do we turn that understanding into real, confident speaking? Well, according to all the expert insights we've explored, it comes down to one big thing: active practice, and more importantly, consistency. And this is where the difference between passive learning and active learning becomes so important. When you're listening to English, maybe a podcast like this one, or reading a book, you're using passive skills. You're absorbing the language, which is super valuable. It helps your brain notice patterns. It improves your comprehension. But speaking? Speaking is a completely different game. Speaking is active. Your brain has to search for the words, build the sentence, shape the pronunciation, and do all that in real time, quickly, and ideally confidently. That's a lot happening at once. It's kind of like watching someone ride a bike. You might understand how they're doing it. You see them balance and pedal, but you don't really learn until you get on the bike. You wobble, maybe fall once or twice, but the more you practice, the more natural it feels. Eventually, you ride without thinking about it. That's what speaking English is like too. So the solution? Start balancing passive learning with active learning. Less just watching or listening, more doing. And here's why that's powerful. The more you do something, the less scary it becomes. When you practice regularly, speaking starts to feel less like a high-stakes performance and more like second nature. You begin to feel more comfortable. Familiar phrases and sentence structures start to stick. That terrifying question, "What do I say?" it begins to fade because your brain now has something to reach for. And all those mistakes you feared, with practice, they stop feeling like big failures. They become small learning moments. And naturally, you start making fewer of them. Every little phrase you get right, every new word you use, it's a small win. And those wins, they fuel your motivation. They're proof that you're improving. So, what does this actually look like in daily life? How do you start? Here are some simple, practical exercises that anyone can do, no matter how busy you are. Start by talking to yourself out loud. Seriously, narrate your day. Say things like, "It's sunny today," or "I think I feel happy right now." You don't need an audience, just your voice. It builds comfort and confidence. Another great tip, record yourself speaking. Use your phone. Read a short paragraph out loud, then play it back. Not to criticize yourself, but to notice areas you'd like to improve, and more importantly, to hear how much progress you're making. That kind of feedback is incredibly motivating. And of course, use technology to your advantage. Language apps like Duolingo, HelloTalk, Cambly, they make practice interactive and even fun. And you don't need hours, just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Remember, consistency beats quantity. Another powerful method is shadowing. Here's how it works. Listen to a native speaker, maybe in a video or a podcast, and repeat what they say right after them. Try to match their pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. It trains your mouth and your brain together. Also, role play. Don't underestimate this. Imagine simple, everyday situations: ordering coffee, introducing yourself, asking for help. Practice those lines out loud, even if you're alone. It builds muscle memory and prepares you for real conversations. If there's one common thread running through all of this, it's consistency. Even 5 or 10 focused minutes a day can make a massive difference over time. So, remember this. Practice doesn't make perfect. It makes progress. And progress is what learning is all about. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about something just as important as practice: confidence. Specifically, how to build it and how to create a safe space for speaking. Because honestly, feeling secure and supported is crucial if you want your progress to actually stick. So, let's get practical. What can you actually do to boost confidence? 1. Start with subtitles in your native language, just to follow the story. Then switch to English subtitles. This helps connect what you hear with how it's written. And don't be afraid to pause, rewind, and rewatch. Seriously, the pause button is your best friend. Another tip: do a little prep before you watch. Check out a trailer, read a quick summary on IMDb, get a feel for the vocabulary and tone. That makes it easier to follow the movie and lets you focus more on the language. And remember, you don't have to understand every word. It's totally normal to miss stuff. The goal isn't perfection, it's exposure. Even catching parts of the conversation is progress. So whether it's practicing with kids, talking to yourself in the mirror, recording your voice, or relaxing with a movie you love, the key is the same. Keep it consistent, keep it kind, and keep it fun. So, you've picked your movie. Great! Now let's talk about how you watch it, because that makes all the difference. This is where active watching techniques come in. You're not just sitting back and letting it wash over you. You're involved. If a line goes by too fast or the accent throws you off, pause and replay. Listen again. Try saying it yourself. Mimic the pronunciation, the rhythm. For example, if a character says, "You've got to be kidding me," try saying it just like them. Match the emotion, the pace, the stress. You're training your ear and your mouth at the same time. And subtitles? Use them, but strategically. Try watching a short scene without them first. See how much you catch. Then re-watch it with English subtitles and check your understanding. Notice what you missed. It's a great way to build awareness. Keep a notebook nearby while you watch. Jot down new words and phrases. Maybe you're watching Finding Nemo and you hear the word current or anemone. Write them down. Look them up. Think about how they're used. What part of the sentence are they in? What tone is used? Also, listen carefully to intonation and pronunciation, the music of the language. Notice how people say things like, "Hey, what's up?" or "How's it going?" There's a rhythm to it. Try to copy that tone. It makes your English sound more natural and confident. And then there's shadowing, one of my favorite techniques. Hear a line, then immediately say it yourself. Try to match their tone, emotion, and speed. If a character says, "I'll meet you at the coffee shop at 3," you say it right after them. Do that a few times. It feels awkward at first, but trust me, it's powerful. You'll start feeling the difference in your fluency. And after each scene, take a moment, pause and reflect. What happened? Any new phrases? Can you summarize it in a sentence or two? That process helps lock it in. And don't forget, take breaks. If you ever feel overwhelmed, just watch 10 to 15-minute chunks. That's totally fine. Learning should be fun, not exhausting. Now here's the next question. Watching is great, but how do we make it stick? How do we move from watching a movie to actually using what we've learned? The answer? Use it. Start with speaking the lines you liked, especially the simple ones that apply to everyday life. Something like, "Can you pass me the salt?" Say it out loud. Match the intonation. Say it enough times that it feels like it's yours. Then, after you finish a movie, try summarizing the story in English, out loud or in writing.
Push yourself just a bit. Ask, what happened? Who were the main characters? What was the main conflict? Let's say you just watched The Lion King. You might say, Simba is a young lion. His uncle Scar is evil. Simba runs away, but later comes back to be king. Simple, clear, and totally valuable, because you're producing language, not just receiving it. You can also go deeper, analyze the characters. Why did they say that? What were they feeling? For example, if a character says, I just want to be understood, you can ask, why? What made them feel misunderstood? This kind of reflection builds not just vocabulary, but emotional depth in your language. And another great practice, write down your favorite quotes. Collect those memorable lines. Then ask, how could I use this in real life? Maybe it's something like, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Where would that fit in your life? Could you use that to encourage someone? Or write it as your social media caption? Next, talk about the movie with a friend, a language partner, even in an online forum. Ask simple but powerful questions like, who was your favorite character? Or, what did you think of the ending? These are easy conversation starters that build your confidence. And for a bigger challenge, try writing your own mini movie review. Nothing fancy, just a few sentences. Title, genre, what it's about, what you liked, what you didn't. For example, I watched Finding Nemo. It's an animated movie about a fish looking for his son. I loved the adventure. It was funny and exciting. Short, but powerful. That's real writing practice. And finally, never underestimate the power of repetition. Come back to the same movie or scene after a few weeks. Rewatch it. You'll be amazed at how much more you understand. That feeling of progress? It's a huge confidence booster. So, to recap, watch actively, shadow lines, write down new words, speak them, summarize scenes, ask questions, rewatch, and most importantly, enjoy it. Learning through movies isn't just effective, it's enjoyable, and that makes all the difference. So, you've watched a movie, maybe even 2 or 3. The big question is, how do you keep the learning going? How do you turn this into something sustainable? Here's the key. Keep leveling up gently. Start with those simple animated films, Toy Story, Shrek, maybe Finding Nemo. Once you're comfortable, move up to something a bit more complex, like The Pursuit of Happiness. Then explore classics with rich and elegant language like Pride and Prejudice. It's all about gradual challenge, just enough to stretch you, not so much that it overwhelms you. And don't stop with just one accent or region. Explore the diversity of English. Watch movies from the UK, Australia, Canada, Ireland. Each brings its own expressions, slang, rhythm. It keeps things interesting and incredibly useful. But above all, make it a habit. Consistency is everything. Even short, regular movie sessions, 15 minutes a day, can build into something huge over time. Keep adding to your notebook. Words like resilient or anxious, write them down, review them, try using them. And yes, mix it up. Don't just stick to movies. Add TV shows, YouTube videos, podcasts. The more variety, the better your understanding of real-world English. And you can bring other people into the journey too. Join a movie discussion group, online or in person. Share your thoughts, ask questions. Practicing English in a relaxed, social setting like that, it's one of the best ways to build fluency naturally. And remember, mistakes are part of the process. Everyone makes them. Celebrate getting through a movie, especially a tough one. Seriously, you earned that win. Which brings us to maybe the most important point of all. Celebrating your progress. This is the fuel that keeps you moving forward, because it's so easy to focus on how far you still have to go, but taking a moment to appreciate how far you've already come, that's powerful. Start a journal. Nothing fancy, just jot down your small wins, like I ordered food in English today, or I understood a joke without subtitles. These little entries become proof, tangible proof that you're growing. Break your learning into milestones, like learn 50 new words, speak English for 5 minutes straight, watch a movie with no subtitles, understand most of a podcast episode. Each one brings a real sense of achievement. And here's a super simple thing you can do. Record yourself. Just a short audio or video clip once a week or once a month, then listen back. You'll hear your progress, your pronunciation, your vocabulary, your confidence. It's motivating. Actually, it can be addictive. And yes, reward yourself. After a great practice session, give yourself a treat. Watch a favorite show, take a relaxing break, have a snack you love. And for the big milestones, celebrate properly. Buy that book you've been eyeing, treat yourself to something special. You deserve it. And don't keep it a secret. Share your progress with friends, with family, in your learning groups. When you say out loud, "I did this," it boosts your confidence and often inspires others too. And also remember, progress isn't just test scores or perfect grammar. Real progress is understanding a conversation without asking for a translation.